The sun may rise over the glistening skyline of Los Angeles, but beneath the polished glass towers and oceanfront mansions, a storm is gathering, one that threatens to tear apart lives, unravel secrets, and bring once powerful families to their knees. On Thursday, July 10th, The Bold and the Beautiful delivers an episode that promises to shift the very ground beneath the Forrester, Spencer, and Nozawa clans. At the heart of the chaos lies a tragedy no one could have seen coming. A shooting, a hero, and a night that ends with 2 lives hanging by a thread. The episode opens in silence. Outside the emergency wing of University Hospital, the only sounds are the rhythmic beeping of machines and the whispered prayers of loved ones pacing the waiting room floors. Liam Spencer, once full of fire and resolve, now lies in a medically induced coma, fighting for his life after a violent confrontation that cast him into the line of fire. And just down the corridor, another figure is surrounded by sterile walls and surgical steel. Luna Nozawa, her fate uncertain, her future possibly erased in a single tragic moment. But how did it come to this? In the hours before the nightmare unfolded, Liam had done what he thought was right, what any man in love, in fear, and in rage would do. He went to Steffi Forrester's home, unaware that the next decision would change his life forever. Steffi, caught between old flames and current responsibilities, could only watch as her world imploded. The man who once vowed to protect her and their family now lies broken, the target of an unforgivable act. And still, she calls him her hero. As the weight of guilt and love threatens to collapse upon her shoulders, she makes a call to Hope Logan, the woman who once shared Liam's heart and still might hold the final key to saving him. Hope arrives at the hospital in disbelief, her face pale as the hallway lights. She needs answers, and Steffi, trembling, gives them. "It wasn't supposed to happen this way," Steffi whispers, fighting back tears. "He was just trying to protect us." But nothing about this night was ever supposed to happen. Back at Spencer Publications, Bill Spencer receives the call that every father dreads. His son has been shot. The phone nearly slips from his hand, his voice falters. Time stops. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't need to. In seconds, he's on his way, driving through the night, headlights cutting through the darkness like the panic in his heart. What awaits him at the hospital is worse than anything he imagined. Because Bill doesn't just learn that Liam may not wake up. He also learns who was responsible. And it's a name that strikes him like a bolt of lightning. Luna. The same Luna he helped free. The young woman he gave a second chance. The daughter of the woman he once shared a fleeting romance with. His mind reels. How could this happen? How could she be involved? And more importantly, how can he forgive himself? But the nightmare is only beginning. Behind the closed doors of the operating room, Lee Finnegan watches as Luna's condition deteriorates. Every second feels like a lifetime. Every heartbeat is a question of survival. And though she's a skilled doctor, a mother's heart makes decisions that medicine never can. "I won't let you take her," Lee murmurs under her breath, her voice trembling not with fear, but with resolve. As Thursday's episode begins, so too does a war. A war between truth and lies, love and grief, hope and despair. And no one will escape unscathed. In The Bold and the Beautiful, the line between love and loyalty is razor thin. And Liam Spencer has always danced on that edge. But on this fateful day, what began as a decision to protect his family will forever be remembered as the moment everything changed. It started at the beach house, a sanctuary of calm for Steffi and her children, and once a haven of tender memories for Liam himself. But peace was short-lived. As tensions escalated and shadows moved in the corners of Steffi's seemingly perfect life, Liam found himself pulled back into a storm he thought he had escaped. There was a moment, just a single blinding moment, when instinct took over, a threatening figure, a flash of panic, a heartbeat of decision, and then the sound of a gunshot piercing the California dusk. In that moment, Liam didn't think. He reacted, just like the protector he's always tried to be, and in doing so, he placed himself in harm's way. Steffi's scream cut through the air, her children cried, and Liam collapsed, the weight of his body hitting the hardwood floor like a fallen tree. Blood pooled too fast. The world tilted, and time began to slip away. From there, everything happened in chaos. The ambulance, the flashing lights, Steffi riding beside Liam, clutching his hand and begging him to stay. Her face streaked with tears, her mind racing with memories, their wedding, their daughter, their countless moments of reconciliation and regret. Hope Logan was next to be pulled into the nightmare. She received the call no one wants, her hands trembling as she grabbed her keys and ran. The woman who once believed her life with Liam was over now found herself desperate not to lose him forever. At the hospital, she confronted Steffi in a haze of emotion, anger, fear, confusion. "What happened to him?" Hope demanded, her voice cracking. "He was trying to save us," Steffi replied softly, staring at the floor, unable to meet Hope's eyes. And then came the words that sent chills down Hope's spine. "They're not sure he'll make it." Doctors worked furiously. The bullet had caused significant trauma. Liam's brain pressure was rising, fast. They had no choice. He needed immediate surgery. What no one expected was what they found during the operation. A mass, not just a reaction to the shooting. Something more sinister, something quiet, hidden, growing for months without detection. A brain tumor. The doctor suspected it had been there long before the bullet found him. Perhaps it even played a role in his recent mood swings, impulsive decisions, moments of emotional volatility. But now it was too late to wonder. The priority was saving his life. Hope sat motionless in the waiting area, eyes fixed on the floor, hands clenched. When Bill arrived, she stood to meet him, but how could she speak? "Tell me he's alive," Bill whispered. "Please, Hope." She couldn't lie. She just nodded toward the surgery doors and said, "They're trying." Bill's face went pale. His heart thundered in his chest. The man who had fought for control his entire life, over companies, relationships, even his own sons, was now utterly powerless. All he could do was wait and pray. Meanwhile, back at the scene of the crime, police worked to reconstruct the shooting, witnesses were questioned, evidence was bagged, and the truth slowly began to surface. Luna. She was there, somehow involved. Whether as a witness, a victim, or something more, remained unclear. But whispers had already begun. Was Luna the reason Liam had thrown himself into the line of fire? Was she being protected or exposed? And if she was involved, why? As Liam's body lay still in the ICU, hooked up to machines that beeped like the ticking of a clock, questions without answers filled the air. The man who tried to be everyone's hero now lay between life and death, and the truth was no longer enough to save him. Only time could. But in The Bold and the Beautiful, time has a habit of running out when you need it most. There are moments in life that define us, not through success or power, but through pain. And on this July morning, Bill Spencer, CEO, fighter, father, is being torn apart in ways he never imagined. As he stands outside Liam's ICU room, watching his son breathe through a ventilator, tubes snaking from every limb, monitors pulsing in a sterile rhythm, Bill is no longer the man who once ruled boardrooms and empires. He is simply a father begging the universe for one more chance. "Don't you dare leave me, Liam," he mutters, his voice hoarse, his eyes red. "I should have protected you." The guilt is unbearable. Moments earlier, Bill was handed another emotional time bomb, the truth about Luna. At first, he refused to believe it. "That's not possible," he snapped when he heard the rumors. "Luna? She's just a girl. She couldn't..." But denial quickly gave way to dread. Because Bill knows something the others don't. He's the one who helped Luna avoid prison. He pulled strings, made calls, even risked his reputation to ensure she got a second chance. And now that decision may have cost him his son's life. "I gave her freedom," Bill says to Hope in a broken voice. "And she gave me back a nightmare." Hope doesn't respond right away. She can barely speak. Her eyes are on Liam, her thoughts racing through memories both beautiful and cruel. But then, gently, she tells Bill the news he wasn't prepared for. Not about the shooting, but about what the doctors found inside Liam's brain. "It's a tumor, Bill," she says quietly. "The bullet, it led them to it. He didn't even know it was there." Bill stares at her, frozen. The world around him seems to blur, as if he's drowning in air. "No," he whispers, shaking his head. "No, not my son." The revelation hits harder than the gunshot. Not only is Liam fighting the trauma of the shooting, but his own body had been betraying him for months, maybe years. How could he have missed it? How could anyone? "I thought I knew him," Bill says, voice trembling. "I thought I saw everything." Hope places a hand on his shoulder, but comfort is useless now. The pain is too deep, the room too quiet, the waiting too long. And then a nurse appears. Her expression is unreadable. She tells them Liam made it through surgery, but remains in a coma. Brain swelling has been controlled for now, but his fate is uncertain. He's stable, she says, but we won't know more until he wakes up, if he wakes up. If. That word shatters Bill all over again. He walks into Liam's room slowly, one foot in front of the other, as if gravity has changed. He stands beside the bed, barely able to breathe. Then, almost in a whisper, he speaks. You remember when you were little and you used to climb those cliffs behind the house? I used to think you were fearless, but I think you were just brave. You still are, son, so fight like hell. Tears run freely now. Bill doesn't wipe them away. Outside the room, the hallway is a blur of family members and staff. Steffi sits on a bench, arms folded, lost in her own thoughts. Hope paces quietly, and somewhere in the distance the name Luna keeps surfacing, spoken in anger, in confusion, in fear. But none of that matters to Bill, not now. Right now, there is only one truth. Liam might die. And if he does, Bill knows he'll never be the same man again. While Bill Spencer drowns in grief over Liam, another life teeters on the edge of existence. Luna Nozawa, the young woman at the center of the storm. Inside a different surgical wing of the hospital, Luna's fate is being decided not by lawyers, lovers, or family, but by the steady hands of surgeons, and one mother who refuses to let go. Dr. Lee Finnegan stands just outside the operating room, watching her daughter's fragile body covered in surgical drapes. The scene is chilling. The machines hum with brutal efficiency. The surgical team works fast, voices clipped, sweat beading on their brows. BP's dropping, heart rate unstable, code blue incoming. The words echo in Lee's ears like a death sentence. She should be inside. She wants to be inside. But protocol has forced her to step back, and that's killing her. Because this isn't just a patient. This is her daughter. Lee knows every bone in Luna's body. She delivered her, raised her, nursed her through every illness and heartbreak. She knows her daughter's dreams, her fears, her sense of humor. And she knows that Luna is a fighter. But today, she isn't so sure. I won't lose her, Lee says under her breath, her fists clenched at her sides. I didn't save her from the past just to lose her to this. Memories flood back. The night she stayed up late studying Luna's breathing when she had a fever. The time Luna fell from her bike and cried more out of fear than pain. The whispered bedtime promises that no matter what happened, her mother would always protect her. And yet here she is, powerless. Meanwhile, the rumors have already started swirling in the hospital halls. Was Luna involved in Liam's shooting? Did she cause it? Witness it? Was she caught in the crossfire? No one knows the full story, and Poppy Nozawa certainly doesn't. But she's about to. Down in the hospital lobby, Poppy storms in, her heels clicking furiously against the tile floor. She's out of breath, frantic, clutching her purse with trembling hands. When she sees the emergency signs and the word surgery flashing on the overhead screen, her stomach sinks. Where is she? She demands at the front desk. Where's my daughter? Moments later, she finds Lee outside the operating theater. Their eyes meet, and time stands still. Tell me she's alive, Poppy begs. Lee hesitates. She's fighting. You said she'd be okay? You promised me this would never happen again. I didn't promise that, Lee replies softly. I promised I'd never stop trying to protect her. But protection might not be enough. Luna's condition continues to deteriorate. Internal bleeding, unstable vitals, unpredictable brain activity. The doctors are preparing for the worst. If we don't stop the bleeding in the next 10 minutes, we'll lose her, one surgeon says urgently. Lee knows what that means. And in a decision that breaks protocol, and maybe the law, she bursts into the operating room and takes charge. Scalpel, clamp, suction, she orders. Her presence electrifies the room. The other doctors hesitate only for a second. Then they move. And for the next 7 minutes, Lee fights for Luna's life with everything she has, not just as a doctor, but as a mother. Outside the room, Poppy waits, knees shaking, lips whispering prayers. She doesn't know what's happening inside, but she feels it. She feels the pull of something ancient and powerful, the connection between mother and child, the invisible tether that refuses to break. Then silence. The doors open. Lee steps out, blood on her scrubs, eyes glassy, hands trembling. She's alive, she says. But the tone in her voice carries a heavy warning. This isn't a happy ending. It's a pause in the nightmare. Luna is still unconscious, still at risk, still tangled in legal questions and emotional consequences. And yet she's alive, for now. But Lee knows something else, something no one else suspects. A truth buried beneath the blood and chaos of the night. Luna's survival might not be an accident, and it might not be public knowledge for long. For Poppy Nozawa, the sterile scent of hospital corridors is not unfamiliar. But today, each step down that long white hallway feels like a descent into a nightmare she's tried her whole life to avoid. Her daughter, her Luna, is alive but barely. And now Poppy's deepest fears are resurfacing with terrifying clarity. Lee Finnegan's calm announcement, "She's alive," echoes in Poppy's ears like a riddle. Not "she's going to be okay," not "she's out of danger," just alive. And to a mother's heart, that phrasing matters. "I want to see her," Poppy demands, her voice trembling, her eyes wild with urgency. "She's sedated," Lee replies carefully. "She won't wake up tonight." But Poppy doesn't care. She rushes past the glass doors into Luna's room, where her daughter lies pale and motionless, a tangle of tubes and monitors forming a cold barrier between them. She grips Luna's hand, tears spilling freely now. "You hold on, baby," Poppy whispers. "I'm here, I've got you." But even as she comforts her daughter, doubt begins to creep in. Something about the way Lee spoke, the way she avoided eye contact, the sterile precision of her words. Too controlled, too distant. It wasn't just medical caution, it was something more. Was Lee hiding something? Poppy straightens up slowly, her mind racing. She turns to Lee, who now stands by the doorway, arms crossed, gaze fixed on the machines. "Tell me what really happened," Poppy says sharply. Lee doesn't flinch, but she also doesn't answer. "She was fine this morning," Poppy continues. "Now she's nearly dead? This wasn't just an accident. Something happened out there, something you're not telling me." Lee finally turns to face her, eyes steely. She was involved in something dangerous. There was a shooting, Liam was hit. Luna was caught in the chaos. "That's not good enough," Poppy snaps. "Caught in what chaos? And why is it you performing emergency surgery on her when you were supposed to be at the hospital administrative board meeting?" Lee hesitates. And that's when Poppy knows there's more. "Don't lie to me, Lee," she whispers. "Not now, not about my daughter." But Lee doesn't answer directly. Instead, she turns back to the monitors, adjusting a dial with robotic precision. "You should get some rest," she says quietly. "We've both been through a lot." "Don't change the subject," Poppy says, stepping closer. "Did you do something? Did you take Luna off the record? Did you stage something to protect her?" Lee doesn't blink, but the silence says everything. "You've always done this," Poppy continues. "Always controlled everything, even when you were wrong. But this time it's my daughter too. If you're hiding something, if you've done something unethical, I deserve to know." Finally, Lee responds. "If I hadn't done what I did," she says, her voice low and heavy, "Luna wouldn't be alive." It's not a confession, but it's close enough. Poppy reels backward, stunned. The weight of those words crashes into her chest like a wave. Luna is alive, but at what cost? Was her survival part of a medical miracle or a desperate cover-up? Back in the hallway, whispers among staff grow louder. The name Luna Nozawa is passing from mouth to mouth like wildfire. Police officers are starting to gather near the emergency desk. Someone filed a report. Someone is asking questions. Poppy glances at the door, then back at Lee. "If they come for her," she says coldly, "you'd better hope you haven't lied to me, because I'll fight just as hard as you will, harder." Lie doesn't speak. She simply nods once and walks away. And in that moment, Poppy realizes the truth she didn't want to face. Luna's survival might not be the miracle it seems. It might be the beginning of something darker. In the unpredictable world of the bold and the beautiful, nothing is ever as it seems. One moment you're mourning a loss, the next you're questioning whether that loss was real at all. And in the case of Luna Nozawa, the lines between life, death, and deception are beginning to blur. And someone may be orchestrating it all. Outside Luna's room, Poppy paces with increasing agitation. Inside, her daughter lies still but stable. The heart monitor's steady rhythm is a fragile reassurance, and yet, Poppy can't shake the feeling that something is being kept from her. It's not just mother's intuition. It's the way Lee Finnegan avoids eye contact, the way hospital staff respond with vague answers, the way Luna's chart appears incomplete, and the strangest thing of all, her name isn't even on the digital patient board. "Why is she not listed?" Poppy confronts a nurse. "We've got her in the system," the nurse replies curtly, but Dr. Finnegan placed her under Level 5 privacy lockout. Level 5. Reserved for celebrities, crime victims, or those whose lives are in danger. And that's when it hits her. This isn't just about recovery, it's about control. In a quiet corner of the hospital, Lee meets with a colleague and whispers, "I had to do it. she says urgently. If she was declared deceased, the charges would disappear, the investigation would stall, the press would move on, she could recover, quietly. Her colleague stares at her in disbelief. You falsified Luna's status? Lee's jaw tightens. Only temporarily, she's not dead, but right now she needs the world to believe she might be. It's the only way to protect her from what's coming. What's coming? The truth. Because outside the hospital walls, the media has already caught scent of the story. A high-profile shooting, a Spencer heir in a coma, and whispers of a young woman involved, one who may have caused it all. News vans crowd the parking lot. Reporters shout questions. Was Luna arrested? Did she shoot Liam? Is this related to Spencer family secrets? The police are requesting an official interview with Lee, but she stalls. She needs more time. Meanwhile, back in the waiting room, Bill Spencer finally learns the full scope of what's happened. From a very unexpected source, Detective Alex Sanchez. We're treating this as a potential homicide case, Sanchez says flatly, and Luna Nozawa is on the list of persons of interest. Bill's mind reels. The idea that Luna, the same girl who once smiled shyly during a Spencer Foundation charity event, could be tangled in a potential murder case is unfathomable. And yet, the dots are starting to connect. Where is she now? Bill demands. Missing, Sanchez replies, or at least unaccounted for. That word, missing. Not hospitalized, not in critical care, not even alive. Bill rushes to the ICU, shoving past nurses until he reaches the glass doors of Luna's room. Let me in, he barks. I want to see her. I have a right to see her. But a young intern steps in his way. Sir, there's no Luna Nozawa listed here, I've checked. Bill spins around furious. She's in that room, he shouts. Don't play games with me. But when he turns back, the room is empty. The bed has been cleared. The monitors unplugged. The IV stand gone. It's as if Luna was never there at all. Poppy arrives seconds later, gasping, clutching her chest. Where is my daughter? No one answers. Because in the bold and the beautiful, truth has many faces, and Lee Finnegan may have just erased one of them. But why? Was this a mother's desperate act to protect her child from the media, the law, and the Spencer wrath? Or was it part of a larger deception, one with consequences that could ripple through the entire Forrester-Spencer-Nozawa triangle? And most important of all, is Luna really safe, or has she vanished into a lie too big to undo? The halls of University Hospital are no longer just a place of healing. They're a battlefield, a place where love is on life support, where secrets bleed out faster than truth, and where every second ticks toward revelation or ruin. As night falls over Los Angeles, everything is hanging by a thread. Liam's silent struggle. Inside his hospital room, Liam Spencer remains comatose, his face pale, his body unresponsive, and his loved ones crumbling. Hope sits by his side, her fingers woven through his, whispering memories into his unconscious ears. Remember when you told me we'd always find our way back to each other? I never stopped believing that. So don't stop now, Liam. Fight. But no movement, no flicker. The machines do the only talking now. Outside the room, Bill paces like a caged animal, helpless and haunted. Every breath Liam takes through a ventilator is a reminder that time is precious, and that some wounds can't be stitched shut with money or power. And still, the tumor looms. Even if Liam survives the shooting, his long-term prognosis is uncertain. The surgery may have saved his life, but it may have cost him everything else. Luna's disappearance echoes. Meanwhile, Luna Nozawa has vanished without a trace. Was it an escape, a protective move, or something far more dangerous? Lee Finnegan remains eerily calm, dodging questions with poise that borders on suspicion. Her silence raises red flags among hospital staff and investigators alike. She's gone, Poppy cries. And you know where she is, don't you? Lee doesn't answer. But the look in her eyes says it all. Across the city, whispers intensify. News reports flood the airwaves. Heiress missing after Spencer Air shooting. Dr. Finnegan involved in hospital cover-up? Was Luna protecting someone or hiding something? The entire city is watching. And the Spencer family's enemies are watching too. Steffi, Hope, and the woman between. Steffi Forrester walks a razor's edge. She's trying to hold her family together while wrestling with guilt and gratitude. She calls Liam her hero, but part of her wonders, was she the reason he got hurt? Hope, on the other hand, is torn between her past and present. Her heart aches not just for Liam, but for the future they may never reclaim. And if Liam dies, will she ever recover? We've both lost him before, she tells Steffi. But this time feels final. A bigger conspiracy? Detective Sanchez isn't buying the coincidences. A missing patient, a falsified medical report, a mother with access to hospital systems, and a patient who was just about to face legal scrutiny, the pieces don't add up. He orders a deeper investigation into Lee Finnegan's actions, including surveillance footage, medical logs, and staff interviews. And when one nurse hesitantly comes forward with a late-night transfer record signed by Lee herself, but with no patient destination, the web begins to tighten. Find her, Sanchez tells his team, and find out who's lying. One final twist. As the camera pans across the empty hospital corridors and into the night, we see a dark SUV speeding away through the hills above Malibu. Inside sits a motionless figure, a woman wrapped in blankets, oxygen line in her nose. Her hand twitches. And then slowly her eyes open. It's Luna, alive, awake, aware. But she doesn't speak. She just stares into the night, a single tear running down her cheek. What does she remember? What is she running from? And most terrifying of all, who's driving the car? Cut to black. Will Liam survive? And if he does, will he be the same man? Has Lee Finnegan crossed a moral line too far to return from? Can Poppy trust anyone anymore, not even her own sister? And what secret does Luna carry that's so dangerous she had to disappear? In Thursday's explosive episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, the world as we know it has shifted, perhaps permanently. 2 young lives are forever altered. A father has been broken. A mother may have crossed the line. And a daughter, once innocent, now finds herself caught in the eye of a storm no one truly understands. We've witnessed the fall of Liam Spencer, a hero, a father, a man whose destiny now hangs in silence. We've seen Bill Spencer reduced to raw emotion, his guilt drowning out his strength. Hope and Steffi, each mourning in their own way, once again find themselves united through tragedy. And yet no story was more shocking than that of Luna Nozawa, the young woman whose name now echoes through headlines, police reports, and whispered speculation. Is she a victim, a villain, or just another soul lost in the chaos of the powerful families that surround her? And what about Lee Finnegan? Was her decision to erase Luna from hospital records born from desperation? Or premeditated protection? Did she save her daughter or steal her future? Somewhere, deep in the California night, a car drives through the hills. Inside it, Luna is alive. But what she remembers, what she plans to do, and whether she'll ever return to face what's been done, remains a mystery. So where does this leave us, dear viewer? Can Liam wake up before it's too late? Will Bill uncover the full truth and unleash the Spencer fury? Will Poppy forgive or fight back? And will Luna's reappearance bring justice or destruction? One thing is certain, The Bold and the Beautiful is far from done. If this was the storm, the aftershock is still coming. Because in a world where no secret stays buried forever, and every heart holds a shadow, even survival comes at a price. We want to hear from you. Did Lee do the right thing by hiding Luna? Should Bill take legal action when the truth comes out? Can Liam and Hope ever find their way back after all this? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget, this story is just beginning. More twists, more heartbreak, and more revelations are on the way. Thank you for joining us for this in-depth preview. Stay tuned, stay bold, and stay beautiful. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss a single heartbeat of this unforgettable saga. We'll see you next time. Hello and goodbye.